Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Jananim Sharadam Devi Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Yathagner Dahika Shakti Ramakrishne Stita Hiya Sarva Vidya Swarupam Tam Sharadam Pranamamyaham. Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swami Tapaharine Ajnana Timirandhasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mannatha Shri Jagannatho Madguru Shri Jagadguruhu Mamatma Sarvabhutatma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Selfless universal prayer for the well-being of all people, for the strength and health of all our fellow beings and everybody in the universe. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet, sarvastaratu durgani, sarvo bhadrani pashyatu, sarvas sadbuddhima apnotu, sarvas sarvatra nandatu. Harihi Om. Let us for a few moments sit quiet, relaxing our body and mind. Let us offer our salutations to the all-pervading blissful spirit in any name or form we like. Let us by all means try to feel the divine contact. Inhale and exhale very peacefully, simple pranayama for a minute. And tune your mind to the chanting of the Om and keep it like a lamp in a windless place, as Bhagavan Shri Krishna has suggested to us. Yatha Deepo Nivatasto Nengate Subhama Smrta Yogino Yatachittasya Yunjato Yogamatmanah. Now I shall chant the Medha Suktam, invoking the grace, the blessings, and the anugraham of the austere goddess of knowledge, Ma Saraswati. Today being Teachers' Day, the birthday of Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. And the topic chosen is the ideal teacher according to the Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, the ancient spiritual knowledge, spiritual system of education in our country. So it is appropriate to chant the Medha Sukta. Those who know it can recite for yourself, keeping the mic muted. Others can listen and learn quickly and practice in your daily meditation. Om Yaschandasam Rishabho Vishwarupaha Chandopyothyamrutat Sambhavuva Samendro Medhaya Sprunotu Amrutasya Devatharano Bhuyasam Shariram Me Vicharshanam Jihva Me Madhumattama Karnabhyam Bhuri Vishruvam Brahmana Koshosi Medhaya Pihitaha Om Shrutam Me Gopaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May He, the Lord of all, preeminent among the Vedas and superior to the nectar contained in them, bless me with wisdom. May I be adorned with the knowledge of Brahman that leads to immortality. May my body become strong and vigorous. May my tongue always utter delightful words. May I hear much with my ears. Thou art the scabbard of Brahman, hidden by worldly taints. May I never forget all that I have learned. Om peace, peace and peace. Om Medha Devi Jushamana Na Agad Vishvachi Bhadra Sumanasyamana Tvaya Jushta Nudamana Duruktan Brihadvadema Vidathe Suviraha Tvaya Jushta Rushir Bhavati Devi Tvaya Brahma Gatashri Rutatvaya Tvaya Jushtas Chitram Vindate Vasusano Jushasvadravino Namedhe Medham Indro Dadatu Medham Devi Saraswati Medham Me Ashvina Ubhava Dattam Pushkarasraja Apsara Suchaya Medha Gandharveshu Chayanmanaha Daivi Medha Saraswati Sama Medha Surabhirjushata Swaha Ama Medha Surabhir Vishwarupa Hiranyavarna Jagati Jagamya Urjaswati Payasa Pinvamana Samam Medha Supratika Jushanta Om Hamsa Hamsaya Vidmahe Paramahamsaya Dhimahi Tanno Hamsa Prachodayat Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Another few seconds, listen to the chanting of the Omkaram, meditate, and then we shall proceed forward. asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from falsehood to truth. O Lord, lead us from darkness to light, from ignorance to knowledge. O Lord, lead us from death to immortality. Offering our salutations to Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, Ma Sharda Devi and Swami Vivekananda, and all great teachers, all great saints whose teachings we have inherited, who have given us direction to reach the truth, to realize the truth. Let us end our short prayer and move forward in today's webinar, celebrating the Teachers' Day, September 5th, 2021. Very good evening to everybody. Susandhya, Shubha Sandhya. Couple of quick instructions to all of you. After the introduction of our guest speaker, Swamiji from Belur Math, from Vivekananda University, the schedule is Maharaj will speak on the chosen topic for the next 30 minutes. Afterwards, those who have need some clarification or something can post their questions, doubts in the chat box, either in the YouTube channel or in the Zoom. And then I will read out those questions and Maharaj will answer them. In between the talk, none of you should use the computer or keep moving about. The spotlight will be on the guest speaker. So you stay put and concentrate, note down the ideas, which might be of great help for students and professors, teachers who have joined us from all over the country, from schools, colleges, our own volunteers, devotees, and others. So don't keep shifting your concentration and your focus. It's a very important subject, very interesting subject, and a very thoughtful subject. It needs a little bit of mind and attention. So these are preliminary instructions for all of you, and absorb the spirit of the subject, because we're all in a transition period, pre-COVID, post-COVID, and what is going on, online classes and things like that. The new educational policy has come and new systems have been taught, and the AICTE and the UGC have given a lot of importance for this parampara, this education, spiritual education mainly, in schools, engineering colleges, and even medical colleges. So we need to think about it more and more. Parents, who are the stakeholders, the professors, the knowledge seekers. It's not just the job seekers that we should look on. Knowledge per se is very, very important today. That alone, knowledge is power. Knowledge removes fear, as all of you know. So we have with us revered Swami Atmapriyanandaji Maharaj, the Pro-Chancellor and Secretary of Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational Research Institute, RKM very in short, formerly Vivekananda University. This is a deemed to be university against based on the UGC laws, UGC rules. So he has agreed, he has kindly agreed. I offer my pranams from Hyderabad, from Tomalguda to Belur Math. Maharaj is joining us from not exactly Belur Math, a few furlongs away from Belur Math, the university campus, the sprawling, beautiful campus on the bank of the Ganga. So Revered Maharaj Atmapriyanandaji is the Pro-Chancellor Secretary. And this university is to actualize Swami Vivekananda's educational vision. He received his PhD from the University of Madras in theoretical physics. And apart from the technical knowledge and his academic excellence, is inspired by the Ramakrishna Vivekananda ideology in his college days, connected with the Ramakrishna Math in Mylapore in Chennai. He joined the Ramakrishna Order of Monks in 1978. His main areas of attention focus is Vivekananda's educational vision, character building for the youth, Yoga Vedanta and modern science, Ramakrishna Vivekananda thought in the context of present-day challenges, consciousness studies as taught in the Upanishads, then synthesis of the 4 yogas as taught by Swami Vivekananda and Bhagavad Gita. He has traveled all over the world representing the order in various forums, various countries. And we are fortunate to have him. And he is one of the involved as a council member or invited participant of a large number of global organizations working for peace and harmony, interfaith dialogue, interreligious understanding, comparative mysticism and spirituality, holistic welfare of children across the globe. And I've been following him as a young brahmachari since 1985, till I've seen him and learned many things from him. So on a small request over phone, he has agreed to share his ideas on this very important day also, celebrated as Teachers' Day in all education institutions. Radhakrishnan ji was also connected with the Ramakrishna Math in one way in Karachi with Swami Ranganathanandaji and also in New Delhi. And many monks and many people had dialogues with him. So it is apt that the Pro-Chancellor and Secretary of RKM Very, Atmapriyanandaji, is with us. I invite him. I offer my pranams again, Maharajji. Thank you for accepting and invite you to share the ideas on the role of an ideal teacher in the Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, as you have decided to speak on. The platform is yours. Thank you. Namaste. And over to the parties. Thank you, Maharaj. Pranams.
Om apyayantu mamangani vak pranaschakshushrotramatho balamindriyani cha sarvani sarvam brahmopanishadam maham brahma nirakuriyam mama brahma nirakaro anirakaranamastvanirakaranam mestu Tadatmani nirateya upanishatsu dharmas te mayi santo om shanti 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 harihi om tat sat. The subject of this evening is the qualities of an ideal teacher according to the Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, ancient Indian spiritual tradition, knowledge tradition. Knowledge was considered very sacred in ancient India. Even now, knowledge is sacred. Although human mind, corrupt as it is, attempts to commercialize knowledge. In the ancient days, knowledge was freely given. The guru or the teacher did not charge anything from the disciple. And the disciples, eager to have knowledge, would go to the guru, stay in the Gurukula as antevasas, residential disciples, and absorb knowledge rather than study to learn. As we say, many things are caught rather than taught. It is the life of the teacher, his fiery character, the constant presence and words of an illumined guru. These were constant inspiration for the disciple. He would serve the disciple, serve the guru, ask questions with an inquisitive mind, eager to learn, and be deeply respectful to the guru, not as an individual, but as representing a Jnana Parampara. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. The Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna teaches Arjuna, Tadvidhi, know this truth, acquire this knowledge. How? 3 methods are given. Pranipatena, fall flat at the Guru's feet. Nowadays it is called surveillance. It should not be servile. You should simply say, "Hi Guru, how are you?" And shake hands with the Guru. Nowadays, of course, the Corona fortunately has prevented this. You can only strike the elbow against the Guru, if you like. Pranipata means you fall flat. It's called Ashtanga Pranama. Ashta Anga means 8 limbs. What are the 8? Shankara says, Ramanujacharya says, the great Bhashyakara, according to the Vishishtadvaita system, when you fall flat, your head, 2 feet and 2 hands, 5, then your mind, your buddhi and ahankara, you offer to the Guru. The manas, which is the mind, the buddhi, which is the intelligence or intellect, and your egoism you surrender to the Guru. As long as you're egoistic, you will not be able to receive knowledge. If you think you know, you can't receive knowledge. When you know that you do not know, you will be eager to learn. There is a famous story of an incorporeal voice, Ashariri Vani, which said in essence, Socrates is the wisest man on earth. Everybody went to Socrates. Socrates, congratulations, you have been declared with an incorporeal voice that you are the wisest man. Socrates thought for a while and said, I am not a wise man. Why is it that I am being acclaimed as a wise man? Then he said, yeah, now I know. Because I alone perhaps know that I do not know. Because everybody thinks that he knows. And the Kenoparishad has a beautiful verse which says, Yasya matam tasya matam matam yasya na vedasa avijñātam vijānato vijñātam avijānatam. A person who thinks he knows does not know. A person who truly knows and does not know really knows. To know is to know that you know nothing. There's also a story of a Zen Buddhist teacher teaching the disciples. One disciple he found was particularly egoistic. He thought that he knew, and therefore there does not need to learn anything new from the teacher. Usually the Zen teachings are done through tea party. There are cups which are being filled with tea by the teacher. The teacher is pouring the tea, and the cup is becoming fuller and fuller. When the cup is full, the teacher is continuing to pour. And the disciple says, oh teacher, it's overflowing, stop now. The teacher smiles and says, did you get my message? If you think you're full, with your little ego, whatever I pour will simply flow out. So, the fundamental condition for discipleship is pranipata, means empty yourself, fall flat. It is not physical. Mentally, you empty your mind of all prejudices, bias, narrowness, and be eager to receive. Then whatever is being poured, you will absorb naturally. Pariprashnena, by asking the right questions. Asking questions is not easy. In fact, there is a new way of examination somebody invented. The answers will be given to the students, and the students have to frame suitable questions for these answers. It is not easy. To be able to ask the right question is most difficult. In fact, in the Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad mentioned, to Prajapati, the great creator God, Indra went there, sir, can I ask a question? Go and meditate, do tapasya for 1,000 years. Observe brahmacharya, do tapasya, and then come and ask a question. What is the meaning? The meaning is if the answer is given to you, will you be able to understand the answer? For which a right frame of mind is required. You need to do tapasya to be able to absorb the spirit of the answer. Then he came back, asked a question. Answer was given. Sir, can I ask one more question? 1,000 more years, go. It's a hyperbole. 1,000 years could be maybe 1 year, maybe 10 years. The idea being, you need to have tremendous austerity and tapasya, the right frame of mind to be able to absorb the answer when it is given to you. Pariprashna and seva. Seva means you serve the teacher with all your heart and soul. A loving service to the teacher will be able to generate in the teacher compassion and love for you. If you serve somebody, your parents, your teachers, your wife or husbands, disciple, the children, they feel pleased. They feel very happy. Can you give me some hot tea? Wonderful tea. Thank you so much. When the person gets pleased, when the teacher gets pleased, then you get knowledge from him spontaneously. And when a man of God, a realized soul, illumined person is pleased, he gives you spiritual knowledge. There is a story of Swami Bodhamayanandaji. He was the first president of the order and a spiritual son of Ramakrishna. One of the outstanding spiritual giants in the Ramakrishna Parimandala, one of his disciples, Swami Nirvananandaji, served him. And Brahmananda became so pleased. And he said, once more like this, I will give you Brahmagyana. So the easiest, I usually think, to get higher knowledge is to go and please the Guru and serve him. Serving is not easy. You may talk about service. Serving God is much easier. Offering Naivedyam in the temple is easier because God is not going to ask you what kind of food you are offering to me. But you serve a human being is not easy. He will ask you several things. I don't like this food. You know what happens in the household. Particularly last year and a half, children's living at home. The parents are thinking, when will these children go to school? Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam. They will give you the knowledge. Who are they? Jnaninaha, knowledgeable people. And tattvadarshinaha, those who have seen tattva or truth. Tattva is a very interesting word in Sanskrit. Tva pratyaya is equivalent to ness or food in English. Goodness, wickedness, boyhood. It's got a tadhit pratyaya, tva pratyaya. Tat means that. Tattva means thatness. Very interesting. That means you don't define the truth as this or that. You say thatness. Whatever the truth is, that is the ultimate reality. Tattvadarshi, a person who sees the truth as it is. It is called Yatha Bhuta Darshana. Darshana, seeing, Yatha Bhuta, as it actually is. Not distorted by your own prejudices and bias, preconceived conceptions. So the Jnanis teach you, and what are the characteristics of a teacher? This has been so beautifully delineated in our ancient tradition. Two phrases which are used in the Mundaka Upanishad, for example. The disciple, eager to get knowledge, and having thoroughly analyzed what is before him, this world, and having known, realized, felt deeply within the complete hollowness of this world, and eager to learn something which is eternal, permanent, and absolute, is running to the disciple with tremendous passion for truth. Parikshalokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedamayan nasta kritakritena. Lokan pariksha, examining the world. The disciple first should examine. The ancient Bharatiya Parampara is always based on investigation and examination. It is not about completely believing what you are told. It is not about blindly following something which has come down by tradition, but examine it, pariksha, and investigate. It is called jigyasa, the desire to learn, desire to know. Jnatum ichha jigyasa. So when you want to learn higher knowledge, Brahma Vidya, for example, the Brahma Sutras begin the first sutra, aphorism, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now, therefore, begins investigation into the knowledge of Brahman. It is an open-ended science. It is not given to you already. You investigate, you examine. Athato dharma jigyasa purva mimamsa. What is dharma? I am not going to give you the definition of dharma. You investigate. This is called Brahma Vidya or Purva Mimamsa, the Dharma Vidya. As opposed to that, you have yoga, which is a protocol-based science. In yoga, the first sutra, Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Yoga is Anushasana. Anushana Shasana is protocol, whereas Jigyasa is investigation. These two are the two great sciences, yoga and Vedanta. Vedanta is Brahma Vidya, the science of Brahman, and yoga is the technology of realizing this Brahman. So we talk about science and technology. Once upon a time, we used to have institutes of science and institutes of technology separately. You know, when we established Indian Institute of Science, long before independence, that also was thanks to the inspiration of Swami Vivekananda, which Jamshedji Tata received. And we also had Indian Institutes of Technology, IIT, IISC. No more. Do you know what is it now called? Now we are calling them IIEST, Indian Institutes of Engineering, Science and Technology. Yoga and Vedanta should come together. The protocol of yoga and the science of Brahman should blend. So the disciple goes to the Guru eager to learn. What kind of Guru? Tad vijnanartham suguru vabhigachet. For knowing the truth, he approaches the Guru alone, the teacher alone, eva, Guru alone. There Bhagavan Bhashyakara Shankara says beautifully in the commentary, Shastragyo api swatantrena brahma anveshanam na kuryaditi eva ityavadharanam. The word eva alone is used because even though you may be greatly learned in the scriptures, you should not, independent of the Guru, seek to learn the ultimate truth. Now, the great Guru is the Google Guru. YouTube is a great Guru. However much you go to YouTube or the Google to learn meditation or any other science or technology, there is just no substitute for a teacher. All of you, boys and girls, will know how much you are missing the physical presence of a teacher before you. What is the difference? The teacher may be teaching that which is already in the book. But even then, when it comes through the teacher, there is a new resonance created because the life of the teacher is mingled with it. Prana alone can kindle prana. Those of you who have carefully listened to the teacher, even the voice of the teacher rings in your ears during exams. When we used to study, not much of preparation we used to do, unlike all of you boys and girls who spend so much time studying. Not much time need to be spent on study, provided you listen to the teacher carefully. Open your hearts, open your minds, open your ears, and absorb. And when we used to write the answers in the exam, we used to listen to the voice of the teacher ringing in the ears. The answer is given to you. We had excellent teachers and we had very serious classes being held. Even now, excellent teachers are available. Gurume vabhigachet samitpanihi, with humility, shrotriyam brahmanishtham. Two important words are used as quality of a teacher, shrotriya and brahmanishtha. In the modern context, we can take shrotriya to be a person who has great knowledge of the subject which he is teaching. If we talk about spiritual knowledge, he will have knowledge of spiritual scriptures, Upanishads, Gita, and so on. If we talk about secular subjects like sciences or arts, the teacher should have a complete and clear knowledge of the subject which he is teaching. That's the first criterion. The first quality of a teacher is shrotriya. He has to have knowledge of the subject which he is teaching. Now, the teacher has acquired knowledge much before you are acquiring now. But knowledge is not a static subject. Knowledge continuously grows. New interpretations come in. New ways of looking at the same truth come in. And new pieces of knowledge also come in. So that knowledge is a dynamic, growing process. Is the teacher updating his knowledge? Or he is using the old notes which he prepared 10 years ago, as they very funnily and derogatorily say, you know what is education? Education is the following. The knowledge of the teacher is copied onto the blackboard and is copied onto the notebook of the student without entering into the heads of either. Of course, that's a very bad way of saying this. So easy updating of knowledge. Shrotriya and Brahmanishta. Nishtha means devoted. Brahman could mean the highest spiritual entity, or it could mean Vedas. Brahma is also the name of Veda. In spiritual knowledge, it could be Veda or the subject which the teacher is teaching. That's also a part of the Veda called Aparavidya. Aparavidya and Paravidya are spoken of. So he is constantly devoted to that knowledge. Brahmanishta. Nishtha means devoted. What is meant by being devoted? Is constantly at it. He has studied the subject several times, taught it also several times, but every time before the teacher goes to the class, he or she is constantly revising and thinking about how to impart this piece of knowledge to the students. It's a kind of meditation. The teacher sits down and meditates, how best can I impart this knowledge to the students in a simple way. Very bad way of teaching. My dear students, I am going to teach you something which is very difficult. None of you will be able to understand. Be careful. So immediately demotivate all the students. That's why great teachers always say, so simple, so easy, come on. Can you name the greatest teacher in Indian tradition? Bhagavan Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was depressed. Arjuna was going through a tremendous bout of depression. And he says, I will not fight anymore. Vishada. And this Vishada is called a yoga. This is a peculiar idea in Indian tradition. Everything is called yoga. Have you ever heard about depression yoga? First chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Because out of the depression comes the eagerness to learn. Arjuna cries. Ashrapurna Kulekshanam. Can you imagine a great warrior, the general of the army sitting down and crying? Vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha Madhusudana. He encourages him, come on. And the 9th chapter begins with a very beautiful verse. You see, Arjuna, this knowledge which is going to give you, the supreme knowledge, and extremely secret. Secret means just to encourage the disciple to be curious about knowledge. If you tell somebody, oh, I'm going to tell you something which is not found in any book, listen and write down. Sir, please tell it again. It may be found in the book, but allow the curiosity of the student. Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam. This is Raja Vidya, supreme knowledge. Raja Guhya, very, very secret. And Pavitram, very sacred. Uttamam, extremely beautiful, supreme. And Pratyaksha Avagamam, directly it can be seen. Susukham, Sukha means joyful. Susukha, very easy, very joyful. I'm going to work out these problems is so simple. It's a joy. Come on. Avyayam is undecaying. So look at the way he teaches. Arjuna, this great knowledge I'm going to impart to you, it is so easy, so transparent, so easily accessible, and as a matter of great joy, you can easily know it. And you are a capable disciple. You are so dear to me. Look at the way the teacher is encouraging the disciple. Arjuna, you are such an excellent boy. Oh, you students, you are so bright. You are much brighter than I was when I was a student. You can grasp it very easily. Such bright faces you have. Come on, I'm going to teach you this. It's very easy. There's a joy. You encourage the students. You kill the students' motivation by saying, it's extremely difficult. None of you will be able to understand it. But anyway, I'm going to teach you. Everybody feels depressed. So, Brahmanishtha, devoted to knowledge. Continuously updating knowledge, updating the method of teaching this truth to somebody else. It's not easy. Every time a teacher teaches in a class, he or she learns newer processes by which he teach. Last time I taught this and students were slightly feeling uneasy. Now let me see how I can teach it. And in the modern times, can you tell me who is the greatest teacher? Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishna Yate Namaha. Those of you who read the Gospel of Ramakrishna, Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita in Bengali, Vachanamrita in most of the Indian languages, the way Sri Ramakrishna teaches such a simple language, the greatest of truths, given the simplest of language. You know what it is? He'll give an example. So the teacher always gives examples from daily life, which you actually see, pratyaksha avagamam. That means directly seen. You see it every day. And you give that example, immediately you know, oh, that is so simple. There is an incident in Ramakrishna's life. Some of the disciples did not understand how God, although he has created the world of the Maya, how is it God is not affected by Maya? He should be affected by his own Maya. Why is it God is not affected by Maya? Then they could not understand. Maya is in God, that way he is not affected. God, how does it happen? Snake says, you know how it is like? A snake has poison in the throat. Whomsoever it bites, poison is injected into him. But every day it is eating through that mouth, but it is not affected with the poison. This is a great principle in biology. All of you know this. If you want to avoid a virus, you take the virus and inject into yourself and create antibodies. This is called the principle of vaccine. You know, the Covishield and Covaxin, etc. That means nobody is affected by his own dharma. Suppose you ask a question. Fire burns everything. Is it right statement? Fire burns everything. But why does not fire burn itself? Suddenly you think fire is not there. Why fire has burned itself? Fire can't burn itself because if it is fire's dharma to burn, the dharma of fire does not burn itself. There's a great principle in science called self-interaction. Those of higher students of physics will know an electron has a field around it, electromagnetic field, and another charged particle comes into that field and is affected by electron through the field. This is called interaction between charged particles. Now the question is the electron affected by its own field? Electron has a field around it. Electron in its own field. So what is the interaction of that field with itself? This is a huge question in physics called self-interaction principle. And self-interaction is a very important subject in higher physics and quantum chromodynamics and so on. So what I'm trying to say is it's such a simple principle. Sri Ramakrishna is explaining through a most ordinary common example. Brahmanishta, constantly update knowledge and think of ways to impart this knowledge in the simplest possible way in which the student will be able to understand. And the third characteristic, quality of an ideal teacher according to the Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, Indian knowledge tradition, is that he is avarigina. He is sinless. Virigina is sin, papa. He is nishpapa, nishkalanka. What is papa? What is sin in the case of a teacher? Commercialization of knowledge. Knowledge should never be used for commercial purposes. Unfortunately, the present age is only about commercializing knowledge. Knowledge becomes profane. Knowledge becomes completely divested of its sacredness. Jnanena sadrisham pavitram vidyate. Jnana is pavitra. If you sell knowledge, you are committing a sin. Avarigina. Then the fourth quality of a teacher, akamahata. Kama is desire, hata, smitten by desire, akamahata, not smitten by any desire. A teacher may not be greedy about money, greedy about wealth, but unconsciously he may have a desire to become famous, to be recognized. Siksha Ratna. Now we have prizes everywhere, awards. The concept of award is not there in India at all. The moment you go for an award, you are creating a competition among teachers. Competition leads to envy, leads to acrimony. In what way he is superior to me? I also did so much. Competitive excellence, which is the present order of the day, always leads to acrimony. There are two kinds of excellence. One is competitive excellence, which is aggressive, which is based on comparison and outwitting the other man. The other is excellence in reference to the ideal. I have an ideal before me and I am falling short of the ideal. I should now excel myself in such a way that I reach the ideal. That means I'm competing with myself to be able to excel every day much more than I was yesterday. That is excellence with regard to an ideal, which was Swami Vivekananda mentioned. Have an ideal, constantly approximate the ideal, be able to reach it. Awards, recognition, and sir, you're such a great teacher, sir. When people say, oh, I feel so happy. And I feel so unhappy when somebody is also praised. Oh, you're also praising that man also? How do you compare him with me? It's a terrible thing. You, all of your children should be extremely careful about this one venom, one poison of comparison and competition. Never compare one person with another. Each person is unique in his own way. Everybody has some qualities. When we were in school, we read a beautiful poem called The Mountain and the Squirrel. I don't know, some of you must have seen this. There is a dialogue between a small squirrel and a huge mountain. And the mountain is so proud. I am so tall, I carry so many forests on my back. You little insignificant, useless fellow. And the squirrel is replying, nature is wonderful. all is well and wisely put in nature. Talents differ. All is well and wisely put. If I cannot carry forests on my back, neither can you crack a nut. In Panchatantra story, you must have read how a lion became friendly with a small mouse. And the lion was caught in a net. It was roaring, could not get out. This little mouse, insignificant, with his teeth went on breaking the net and came out. So every one of you has a talent which nobody else has. Believe in the uniqueness of nature. This is a fundamental philosophical and scientific principle. If you have time, I can elaborate later on. Every particle in this universe, every insect, what to speak of a human being, every animal, every insect, every particle is unique. There is nobody in this universe like you. So don't try to be like somebody, but be like your own self. Swami Vivekananda said this. I looked for an ideal everywhere until I realized I am my own ideal. Be like yourself. Manifest your own glory. Look at nature. I live at Belur Math and so many birds keep singing early in the morning. There's some cuckoo, kokil. So beautifully it goes. Immediately comes the crow, ka, 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 ka. So jarring. Now, the crow does not say, oh, cuckoo is so beautifully singing. I am so ashamed of your voice, I should not sing. It is happily going on. It is not ashamed of its voice before the cuckoo, because it is trying to express itself in joy. So express whatever talents you have in joy. Don't say that fellow is so talented, he can sing well, he can play well, he remembers things, I cannot be like him or her. Don't try to be like somebody, be like your own self. Come on with the talents which you have. Swamiji mentioned this. Manifest the inner power which is within you. The manifestation of the perfection which is there already is education. So Shrotriya, Brahmanishta, Avarijana, Akamahata, the last quality of an ideal teacher, Paramakarunika, is extremely compassionate, affectionate, loving to the disciple. Never say, you fellows, you don't understand, dull fellows. It is my fate that I'm going to teach you. Never condemn anybody. Even the dullest student has a spark, which perhaps the teacher has not spotted out. Oh, you don't understand this? Come on, I'll tell you again. Different ways try to teach. Come down to the lowest level and try to raise him. If you can't be compassionate, if you can't be loving, if you can't be affectionate, what kind of teacher are you? Don't scold a student. If you use any harsh word to a young pupil in the class or elsewhere, you have completely, permanently damaged his psyche. You do not know, whole life that scar doesn't leave him. You can't answer this question, you stupid fellow, you don't know anything. Why did you come to my class? That fellow goes on crying. You have permanently inflicted a wound in his mind, which scar cannot be so easily removed. And it's never do this. Have compassion. He will come up. Perhaps he is not talented here, he may be talented elsewhere. Try to bring him up to a level. And as Swami Vivekananda said, Sri Ramakrishna is the only person who could speak to everyone in his own language. A child has a language which we do not know. If you teach him and tell him in the language which he will be able to understand, I don't mean English or any other language. I mean the content. You can convey to him in a very peculiar language. And the way the present generation understand, the earlier generation may not understand. Generation-wise, now we talk about Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and so on. Generation gap. People are understanding differently. Now we have to tell them in terms of internet, in terms of computers and so on. I'll give you a small example and stop. One of my students came and challenged me. Hinduism, there's a serious problem. Everything is kept secret. You cannot read this, you cannot read this. Women cannot have access to this. Boys cannot read this. Why should we not read? Why should we not know? And the mantra. You say some mantras are very sacred, they should not be given to anybody. Hey, very secret, don't tell it to anybody. Why? Now, transparency. Now we have Transparency International. Transparency, openness, and knowledge is freely given to everybody. Hinduism is at fault. That is what you say is right. See, never contradict a student. Yeah, what you say is right. It's called Ardha Angikara. Satyamevam, Shankara says, yeah, what you say may be right. Come on, let us discuss this. Don't say you are wrong. Then he will say you are wrong and finished. Take him. Then you say, and I told him, see, what you say is right. There are certain things which are not so easily disclosed openly, and let us not discuss this. Achha, tell me, let us discuss your computer. You have a laptop? Yeah. You have internet connection? Yes. You have an email ID? Surely? Yeah, I have two IDs. Can you give me your password? My password I can't give you. You just now talked about transparency, openness. What is secret? Oh, my password, Maharaj, I can't give you. See, there are certain things which are not open. There is a certain private space, which we say. Certain things are just not revealed because they are too secret and sacred. It is not about covering up anything. So just like your password cannot be revealed to anybody, you don't push your password to the internet and then say, come on, the whole world, this is my password. You don't say that. There are certain things which have to be taught. Then he said, yes, now I understand. You should teach him in the idiom in which he understands. Internet is a great example of a mind in which all knowledge is stored, cosmic mind. Then they ask, students ask, what is cosmic mind? It's all only imagination. I said, it is conscious Google. When Google is consciousness, it is called the cosmic mind. It is sarvagya, it is all-knowing. For anything you say, Google it and you get it. So connect yourself with the cosmic mind, download, that's all. And the process of downloading is education, and connecting to it is called yoga. Yoga means connecting. Yujudhatu means to connect. And to connect, you need connectivity. And yoga is simply defined in the modern language, 24/7 infinite broadband connectivity is called yoga. Satata yukta, nitya yukta, yukta tama, words used in the Bhagavad Gita. So, the 5 qualities of an ideal teacher according to Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, ancient Indian knowledge tradition, Shrotriya, Brahmanishtha, Avrijina, Akamahata, Paramakarunika. So with these 5 qualities, you approximate as much as possible to this, then you raise to a level in which you constantly can teach. Everyone has to be a teacher. In the household, the mother is a teacher, the father is a teacher. Even a person is sweeping the floor can teach you something how to properly clean. Because she or he has been cleaning for years, knows exactly how to clean. So learn from everybody and transmit knowledge. What does a teacher do? He transmits knowledge. Don't hold knowledge. They say, Acharya Mushti means the fist of an Acharya, you will hold knowledge, I will not give knowledge. Swami Vivekananda said the greatest mistake that India did was to hold knowledge and not give it freely. So many pieces of knowledge died out. The monopolizing knowledge. Buddha said, I don't have Acharya Mushti. Open up, give everybody freely, give happily, So on this day, we pay our homage to all the teachers in the world of all climes, of all traditions, all the peoples of the world, that they are continuously transmitting knowledge from generation to generation. Thank you so much.
Yes, Maharaj, we offer our pranams. And as usual, we have scanned the entire Guru Parampara and the traditions of India and the knowledge bank of India, and concluded with the modern jargon, modern technological lingo, as they say, and very, very deep thoughts, and people will be benefited in the long run in the present trying circumstances. Just to take a cue from you, how do you think that the present times of online education and your university and the other schools, colleges passing through uncertain times, but there is a jignasa that we can do something different, the awakening has come. How do you think these ideas can be put into a project forum or a classical forum through the university or through the Ramakrishna Mission centers? How we can take this message forward in the present narrow times?
Human mind always moves forward and finds new ways and means by which it can move forward. When this deadly virus came and all physical classes were stopped, you devise new ways by which you can impart knowledge.
Yeah.
As they say, necessity is the mother of invention. During the world wars, several new inventions became possible. When there's a crisis, then the human mind brings out its best. As Swami Vivekananda said, the wounded snake is food and furs, the desert air resounds the calls of heart-struck lions rage, the cloud pours towards the deluge of strength when lightning cleaves its breast. So people who are not used to all this are now getting used, and they are trying to find what they now call the new normal.
Yeah.
So you invent continuously, and there is nothing new which is old. So it's called Purana. Pura api nava. Although it is old, it is ever new.
Yeah.
So this is not new, and after some time, we have something newer than this. So continuously, human mind keeps moving. So never get stuck anywhere, never get depressed by challenges. Face them and move forward. That's what we are doing now.
Yeah.
And everybody is now carefully moving. Now again, after some time, perhaps a couple of months, we don't know when, we'll go back and life will be completely different than what it was earlier. Now they talk about the blended mode of education. Now you have the online and offline. For example, this beautiful webinar which you have organized in Hyderabad. You are sitting in Hyderabad, I am sitting in Belur Math, and so many people are joining from so many places. It was possible because of the technology.
Yes.
Take advantage of technology. Take advantage of technology.
అదే నాకు వరం ఆ పుస్తకం ఈ పుస్తకం లేదు మాక్సిమం ఇప్పటికీ కూడా నా బెస్ట్ ఫ్రెండ్ ఇస్ మై బుక్స్
Please mute
మంచి
your
లైబ్రరీ
voice, please. Concentrate on the topic. Yeah, man. Sorry. So there is one interesting question, something similar to the ideal that you have referred to, the role model or things, Swamiji said, man with an ideal makes 1,000 mistakes, man without an ideal will make. Now the ideology, the Guru Parampara that we have, the question is, what should be the way forward in a situation where teachers have turned into unethical ways? There are many cases like that. Wonderful teachers are there, fantastic persons, but still there are certain people who are creating some. Students are also trapped and they become the future teachers in this system. The same cycle continues. Where should we draw the line? What should be the solution?
See, I always feel that we always think the present day is bad. Old was gold. Old was never gold. I always tell people, look at the Mahabharata society. Look at Draupadi's situation. Is it a civilized society? Where a helpless woman is being harassed by Duryodhana and Dushasana. And Arjuna and Yudhishthira and Bhima and Nakula Sahadeva sitting in front. Bhishma Pitamaha, such an enlightened soul. Dronacharya sitting, Karna clapping his hands and rejoicing. Is it a civilized society? Present society is far better. What I'm saying is, wicked people have always been there. Corrupt people have been there. Down the centuries. Rakshasas also existed, Asuras existed along with Devatas. Mahishasura came and gave a tight slap to Indra and took away his Vajrayudha. And look at the Indra's cabinet. Devendra, his cabinet consisted of Varuna, floods, tsunami, and then super cyclone, Vayu, then Agni, terrible, can burn everything.
Forest fire.
And Yama. With that cabinet, Indra was running for his life. Mahishasura drove him out of the throne. So Mahishasura always will exist, don't worry. And Durga Devi will come. Durga Devi is the divine power which is in us. We should believe that truth will definitely triumph. So our illustrious forefathers who founded the Constitution of India chose this motto for Indian Constitution, Satyameva Jayate. Eva, this truth alone will triumph. There could be cases where untruthful people have a heyday, but ultimately truth has tremendous power. Believe in this. It's conviction which carries. And if you stick to truth, Satya will also protect you. And wicked people, corrupt people, unscrupulous elements, unethical people will always be there. It is not only among teachers, everywhere. And some elements will be there. But if the percentage of such people becomes larger, then society will be a problem. But remember, one good person, one truthful person, one honest person can completely change the atmosphere. You can see even in ordinary life. One person who is strong, powerful, people dare not approach him. You can try this in your own places. But you should be honest. You should not be showing off your honesty elsewhere, but inwardly you are doing something else. Ramakrishna said, whole of spiritual life, Ramakrishna summarized in 2 sentences. In Bengali, I will say and translate, Mon muk ek karo. That means your speech and your action and your thought should become one. What you think, try to speak. What you speak, try to do. Manu me manasit pratisthita mano me vachi pratishtitam. This is the Veda. Second, bhaver ghore churi korona. Very difficult to translate into English. Bhaver ghore. That means there is a sacred space within you which has so many divine moods, thoughts, bhava. There, don't be hypocritical. Hypocrisy is something which weakens. You show something and do something else. You just are what you are. Don't try to be other than what you are. There's a counterfeit coin and you'll be caught. Sooner or later. If not now, you can't escape. And in Kali Yuga, as they say, the karma immediately comes back to you. Siddhir bhavati karmaja kshipram hi manushe loke. Kshipram means very fast. You do something, immediately you are caught. You are exposed. So you can at least sleep peacefully if you're honest.
Yeah.
I'm what I am. And power will come, glory will come, as Swamiji says, when you awaken the inner power. And you can remember much more rather than copying from somewhere. The online examinations we see, we tried very hard. And the students, I said, why are you wasting time? They are always here and there. And they are copying from somebody who also makes a mistake. They have a WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Immediately they pass on the whole thing. And we also see, Teachers are also intelligent. And one teacher said, see, we know all these tricks. We have seen enough and more. Why? What for? See, after all, we know online examinations are very difficult and the students are suffering at home. So we shall be compassionate, but be truthful. And then during the interview, we have a rigorous interview, the boy cannot say. And even in the interview, if you compel him to switch on the video, only his face is available and the WhatsApp is here. And then immediately from Google, he gets the answers. It's not easy. See, we also know. And then some tricky questions he can't answer. Then secondly, teachers will play clever and that, and they will play, why we should play this game? We are not here to bully and eliminate you. Of course, competition is terrible. And unfortunately, because of extreme competition and the population explosion and the number of students, everything has become MCQ. Multiple choice questions, you tick, and the number of right ticks, you become a genius. Even in English, they get 99, 100%. Because English also go on ticking. So there's a joke about a boy who was a very brilliant boy. He got 99 in every subject. Appeared for an interview. And the interviewers are so happy and so pleased. Oh, you are a wizard. My dear kid, what's your name, dear? He was blinking, not answering. So what has happened? What's your name? The father says, sir, please don't mind. You should tell him your name is A. Ghosh, B. Mukherjee, C. Bandyopadhyay, D. Banerjee. Then he will tick out one name. He knows how to answer only MCQs. So our boys who get 99% in English, 4 decent, correct grammatical sentences they cannot form. They can only tick. We have reduced education to simply merely ticking, but nature also will tick you off.
Yes.
People are not used to reading books now. Everything is in the internet. They will only e-books.
E-books are there.
Printed books you read, everything is not e. Except the food, everything is e now. Suppose you offer e-food. Now e-prasad is also available.
Yeah.
You do, Google gives you want to worship. What the deity you want to worship? Ganesha, then Lakshmi, Saraswati, etc. Ganesha you take. Panchavachara Puja, Shashopachara, Panchavachara. Then immediately ding, 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 etc. Then finally one e-prasad will come. And then e-prasad cannot satisfy your hunger. Every e-books, you have the taste of books. Go to the library and then read so reading a book is a tremendous exercise, which education gives you this opportunity. Simply going to Google all the time, and Google also misleads you. Google gives you wrong information many times.
True. Yeah. Having enjoyed your talk, then Paravidya is very, very important. That is the highest, that is the goal of our life, that Paravidya, the supreme knowledge. But then in the modern context, the question is, Aparavidya also is part of our life and we have to live by it, we have to sustain by it, we have to work, we have to learn the different skills. How do I balance both? How do I prioritize both, or time or interest? In the Bharatiya Sampradaya, knowledge tradition, para and aparavidya are given equal status. Very interesting. Para chaiva paracha, etc. Para and apara does not mean higher or lower. Knowledge of the world and nature is called aparavidya. Knowledge of the self, knowledge of the Atman is called the paravidya. So Swamiji said, by controlling nature, external and internal. So you have to have a hold of the external as well as the internal. In support of my statement, I will quote from the Bhagavad Gita, 13.2. Those who have got the Gita, please read that later. 13th chapter, Kshetra Kshetrajya Vibhaga Yoga, 2nd verse, where Bhagavan says, Kshetra Kshetrajya Yor Jnanam Yat Tattva Jnanam Matam Mama. Kshetra is the external nature. Anything regarding Kshetra is called Aparavidya, knowledge of nature, Kshetra. Kshetra is your body,
Kshetra is the external world, it will be physics or chemistry or mathematics or biology, physiology or anatomy or medical science. All of them is a Kshetra, knowledge of Kshetra. Kshetrajna is the knowledge of your own higher self. And the Bhagavan says here, Kshetra Kshetrajyayoh Jnanam. Look at the word. Those of you who know a little of grammar, Sanskrit grammar, will know Vivachana is used and he uses Dvandva Samasa. Like Rama Lakshmanau, Ramascha Lakshmanascha Rama Lakshmanau. So Kshetra and Kshetrajna together, Shashti Dvivachana, the knowledge of Kshetra and the knowledge of Kshetrajna together, according to me, is the real knowledge. That means Bhagavan says a person has knowledge of only the self, spiritual knowledge, does not have knowledge of the outside world, also has failed. And a person's knowledge of only the outside world and not the inner knowledge is also failed. Swami Vivekananda emphasized this. You can refer to one small book called My Master. Swamiji gave 2 lectures on his own Divine Guru. They are combined into one small volume, My Master. It's a masterly piece. Please do read this. Swami Vivekananda, My Master. He begins by saying, a new wave of adjustment is now necessary. In India, there has been a lopsided growth. He uses this word, lopsided growth, by overemphasizing the knowledge of the Atman, the spirituality, etc. In the West, there has been a lopsided growth by overemphasizing the knowledge of external nature. Now he says a new wave of adjustment is necessary, a mingling and a blending of these 2 great ideals. This is Swami Vivekananda's and Ramakrishna's message, in which external and internal nature both have to be regulated and controlled. Knowledge of both is necessary. That's why Swami Vivekananda founded this great mission in which sadhus, monks were supposed to be absorbed in the caves and the forests, reading only the Gita and the Upanishads. They are reading the Brahma Sutra on the one hand. On the other hand, they are teaching and reading the computer science and physics and mathematics and chemistry. We have very good mathematicians and computer scientists. We run a university also. Then we have a large number of monks who are highly qualified from IITs and NITs. Those who have postdoctoral experience in Pennsylvania State University and Toronto and Brown University, in Sing Theory and so on. We encourage them to teach higher physics, higher mathematics, higher computer science, which is as sacred as a study of the Bhagavad Gita, a study of the higher knowledge. In fact, Mundaka Upanishad says, even the Vedas and the Upanishads are also aparavidya. Because they are, after all, they are books. The knowledge of the mind, that which goes beyond the mind, is called the higher knowledge. Para. Tatra para rigvedo, yajurvedo, samavedo, atharvavedaha, shiksha kalpo, vyakaranam, niruktam, chanto, jyotishamiti, athaparayaya, tadaksharamadigamyate. All these are put in aparavidya. Swami Vivekananda beautifully said, Vedas are the only scriptures in the world that the study of the Vedas is unnecessary. Study of the Vedas is only secondary. So Ramakrishna again is such a simple example. The Panchangam, the almanac predicts so much of rain will be there. If you squeeze the pages of the almanac, not one drop you will get. He also said, somebody wrote a letter. Please purchase one piece of cloth and half a share of some sweets. This fellow lost that letter, frantically searching what is to be purchased. I forgot. When he got that letter back, what will he do? You will go on memorizing what is there. One piece of cloth and 5 shares of Sunday, one piece of cloth and 5. Will you memorize that letter or will you go and purchase? He says, scriptures give you the indication. Read them, afterward they are not necessary. Yavan artha udapane sarvadas supludodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanatah. Such bold statement in the Bhagavad Gita. All the Vedas are absolutely useless, unnecessary for a person who has already realized himself. As long as you have not seen, you go read this. When it's known, it is not necessary anymore. So the Paravidya and Aparavidya are equally important, and there is no distinction between the secular and the sacred, Para and Apara, the supreme and the inferior. The whole thing is the Vibhuti of God. The 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavan says, all is my Vibhuti. The internet is a great Vibhuti of God. The technology through which we are having this conference is a great Vibhuti of God. So if Ramakrishna had been alive now, he would have told, Rudhu, Uday Rama's nephew, Rudhu, can you show me Hyderabad, they're conducting a webinar, how it is done? And you'll say, oh, so many people are attending from so many places, you will go into Samadhi. Because it is the Vibhuti of God. Think of Aparavidya as a Vibhuti of God. Artificial intelligence is the Vibhuti of God. How these robots can do things. And remember, these robots have been created with the human mind. The human beings have done all this. Yes. So consciousness which is reigning supreme, taking the help of all this. Kshetra and Kshetrajna. The Kshetrajna which is within me can't function unless I have this body and the mind, unless I have the voice. So it's just like the light and the electricity. You have a tube light here which is shining. The tube light is the Kshetra and the electricity is the Kshetrajna. Which is more important? There may be electricity, but the tube light is gone, nothing can manifest.
Yes.
The tube light may be there, but there's no electricity, nothing can manifest. So both are equally important. Kshetra, Kshetrajna, yor jnanam yat, yatta jnanam matam mama.
One question from one of our volunteer students is, RKM Very, the university by itself, its own dignity, its own uniqueness, and there are other universities which have hundreds of wonderful universities. Knowledge is commercialized, we feel, made for certain private interests. In what way is this university, Vivekananda University, RKM Very, is fulfilling the vision and goal of Swamiji at the present times?
Once again, I would not go for comparisons.
Yeah.
Because each university has its own idea, its own mission, its own vision. And let everybody grow in his own way. And we, claiming allegiance to Swami Vivekananda's ideology, are trying to actualize his vision in a small way. And when we began this university journey, we chose certain areas which we call thrust areas. These areas were chosen with the 3 important criteria in mind. Once again, Swami Vivekananda's ideas. 1, these should be gap areas in the sense, these areas are not sufficiently emphasized by other universities. 2, Ramakrishna Mission institutions all over the world have developed reasonably good expertise in these areas, so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel, as they say. 3, it should impact the life of the common man. In what way we try to be different is, Swami Vivekananda said with great poignancy and sorrow, so long as millions live in poverty and ignorance, I call every man a traitor, who, having been educated at the expense of the poor masses, pays not the least heed to them. And in Madras, where convocation is held even now, it's just overlooking the sea, even in those days. So Swamiji said, people who are wearing the huge gowns and the food in those days, with the diploma in their hands, these certificates. He said, is there not water enough in the sea to drown you, your diplomas and gowns? Go and drown yourself in the sea. What are you doing to the poor people? So, educated people, unless they care for the people, for the country, unfortunately, in our education system, educated people have very little idea of the country, the past glory, the unfortunate present decadence because of so many factors, and huge future glory of India. Swamiji repeatedly mentioned this. And Sister Nivedita writes in one place, after the devastating 2 great world wars, European countries again rebuilt themselves and attained to great success because the educated people were deeply concerned and worried about the country's progress, how the country can come up. Our educated people are systematically being exported abroad at the expense of the poor masses they study, and IITs and IIMs. It is not my statement, Government of India document. 98% of the people who get their education hugely subsidized by the poor masses, the taxpayers, the person who is cutting grass there, the person who is cutting the hair, the puchka wala and the rickshaw wala, was more intelligent than the IITians, provided he had the opportunity for education. And the first thing an IITian or IIM person will do, have a huge line for the US visa. Somehow escape, go abroad, continuously criticize India, and if you are blessed, you have an Indian wife, and you will remain all your life as a second-class citizen there. I know so many of my friends. They will never take you as one of them. They will always consider you as a heathen, a black, and you will be a second-class citizen, and you are so happy there, crying all the time, but covering all your sorrow, saying that you are so good. This is our education. So our educated people should seriously think of the country's education. Then alone the country can come up. Swamiji spoke about this. So we are trying, not that it is a great success, but constantly being in a certain atmosphere, many of them have the ideas that we should do something. Our country has everything which any Western country has. Even the chocolates. Switzerland, we have the best chocolates, the best ice creams. There is nothing in our country which is not available. Now, Amazon, one WhatsApp, immediately you get what you want. The best quality products are available. Knowledge is available. But people constantly go on criticizing India. And what do they have? People taking out their pistols and at the drop of a hat, they keep shooting people. Is it a country most uncivilized animal-like people? An education institution, a person suddenly comes in and then shoots everybody. And guns are so easily available. The government gives guns free. Go and shoot everybody, and then you are supposed to be a greatly civilized society. Let them have their own civilization. We have so much to learn from them, but don't denigrate your own country. It's a great sin. I don't say you should glorify all that you have. There are 2 groups. One is go on denigrating all that we have. The other is go on glorifying all that we had.
Yeah, yes.
So take the best element of the West, best element of the East. Swamiji said this. Best elements of the East and West should be combined. Prachina Bharatiya Parampara Bojai Rekhe Adhunik Gyan Vigyana Shwamannoy Jate Hai Amenity Vishwavidyalaya Chai. In Bengali, he said in the last day of his life, rooted in the Indian spiritual tradition, taking the best elements of the past and combining it harmoniously with the Western scientific knowledge, we should create a university. India will once again become glorious. Swamiji said famously, let us work hard, my brethren. There is no time for sleep. On our work depends the coming of the India of the future. She is there, ready, waiting. She is only sleeping. Arise and awake and see her seated in the eternal throne, more glorious than she ever was, this motherland of ours.
Yeah.
Read Swamiji and feel inspired. Swamiji, when he was traveling in the ship to Chicago, one Western person was constantly criticizing India as heathens, all kinds of vulgar language. Swamiji didn't stop criticizing my country. Then when he did not, he said, I will throw you into the sea.
Yeah.
And he showed his muscles and you're shivering with fear. That means, Swamiji said, if your mother is insulted with you, will you keep quiet? And then you go there and join the chorus. Recently, the latest one, the University of Toronto in Canada is sponsoring a webinar, not seminar and a webinar, on dismantling Hindutva and anti-Hindu seminar sponsored by the university. Can you think of this now? Because we have constantly been beaten, constantly being thrashed, and we are so happy to be kicked about. Swamiji therefore said, Hindus have been too mild for too long. We want to be aggressive and assert the greatness in us. So be proud of your heritage. Don't sleep over your weaknesses also. Be aware of your weaknesses. Try to make amends. And if 100,000 people, 140 crore of people, so happy with 7 medals and a few bronze medals, we are celebrating. Let us see how we can do, strategize, think about it. Our country will become great when our young, educated youth constantly worry about the country. Swamiji said that Mother India be your deity and devata for 50 years until independence came. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. It's very elaborate, very practical answers you have given, but a lot of interesting questions have come, which we shall arrange another webinar as per your time availability.
Questions, answers will also keep coming.
Yes,
And
yes.
answers will give rise to more questions.
Yes, it slowly. And we reach.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We'll end with a Shanti Mantra.
Yeah.
Everybody, our faculty, students, volunteers, teachers from all over the country, I convey my pranams to you and seek your guidance in the future. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tatsat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Jai Bhagavan Shri Ramakrishna Deva ki Jai. Jai Shri Sharada Mai ki Jai. Jai Swami Vivekananda Maharaj ji ki Jai. One quick announcement for all the participants here and in the YouTube channel. Next Saturday, very important day, 11th September, Swami Vivekananda's 128th anniversary of the Chicago addresses. We have a 2-hour online youth conference. Dr. R. Balasubramaniam from New Delhi and Anshul Chaturvedi of Times of India, New Delhi will be joining us. The posters are uploaded in our website, etc. Please join that. Next Saturday, 11th September, 10:30 to 12:30. 12th September, we celebrate the 22nd Foundation Day of the Institute of Human Excellence. Actually, it should have been on 10th September, but 10th September, Friday is Ganesha Chaturthi. We shall be having this function on 12th of September. It's a very important day. The Chief Justice of India, Sri N.V. Ramana, is the chief guest, and our Vice President Maharaj, Srimad Swami Bodhamayanandaji, will join us from Chennai. We have the General Secretary of the Ramakrishna Math and Mission joining us from Belur Math, and our Adhyaksha Maharaj from Hyderabad. Couple of youth volunteers will speak and present their thoughts. That will be next Sunday in the morning from 11 a.m. onwards. From 12 o'clock, after the main session is over of the Chief Justice and our Vice President Maharaj, we have another interesting talk, very thought-provoking talk. All of you can join that online both in the Zoom app, Zoom meeting, and in the YouTube. The triangle of life, which is youth, life, and growth, by Sri Vijay Menon from Kochi. He is our senior faculty, guest faculty of Human Excellence is the last 20 years. So he will be joining from Kerala, and that is also open for all of you to support the activities of Human Excellence, which is the brainchild, and like a university, this is, though not officially recognized by UGC. We have an understanding with the AICT and other universities and local colleges. So 21 years of service to the society, of training men and women of character, even school children to the postgraduate. And then 22nd year will commence from 12th of September. So these two important programs coming up, 11 September, 12 September. Please encourage your children, youth, professors, children to participate and make these 2 days function grand success. The link is available in the YouTube, in the Facebook, in the app, and in our Facebook channel and Ramakrishna Math website also, rkmat.org/VIHE. So with this wonderful session of ancient scriptural knowledge, the Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, addressed by Swami Atmapriyanandaji, we pray to Sri Ramakrishna to bless you all, your family and others with good health, strength, and peace, and meet all of you on 11 September morning and 12 September in the morning. Thank you. Namaste. Shubharatri, Shubharatri, Shubharatri.